Well, I suppose it's time to make another video for the channel. So this is what I've been making for the last couple months, just slowly working on it. That's out of my old TRX 200SX frame. It's been adopted, you could say. So pretty simple. This is just all steel tube framing, various sizes, just all sort of tacked together, very, very simple, nothing fancy. The frame's not much to look at, but I suppose here's the general article. This is the fuel feed at the moment just to test it. I will get a pump set up at the bottom to feed into the carb. But yeah, this is the new fun thing, I guess. So a bit of a rundown. This is a first stage turbo off a twin turbo Legacy, just a junkyard one. It's way too big for what it is, but I don't have to run a wastegate or anything because it can only push about 6.5 pounds to 6 pounds at max RPM, and everything else is just welded off. The intake is just a piece of galv coated plumbing pipe. Since petrol doesn't erode through galv, it's cheap, it was easy. Just welded a couple of nuts for fixing points, and then it's just got a piece of sealant through the head. This time I've bored it out as much as I can, sitting just with a Dremel, not making it perfectly smooth, so the fuel still breaks up. So it's not coming through streamlight, which you don't want going into your the head, but with the exhaust port, yes, you can make that as smooth as you can, polish it right out, so the exhaust gas can come out quicker. We see the oil feeds are the same as, the oil feed in return is the same as what it was when it was on the quad, just a lot shorter. The back axle is a proper go-kart axle. I just bought these bearings, welded them on just with some L brackets for adjusting the chain, getting that in the right spot, getting it all leveled up. There is a lock ring on here that I've drilled through and tapped in some Allen keys just to stop the axle from moving back and forward. I'm not quite sure what actual go-kart uses, but this works no fine. I get no play in it or anything, and then I've just put silicone around the bearing cases, let that dry, and then put a washer against it, let it dry, then put it all on, just so it's like a dust cap protection against the dust and whatever I run over. So it's the same pretty much, except the jets are a little bit bigger because the whole setup is a little bit closer, and it was leaning out a little bit when I was first testing it and tuning it, etc, etc. For the shifter, I've just put I've got the factory shifter, chopped it, drilled it, welded a rod just with a handle, so that's your gear changing now, throttle, all that sort of stuff's probably self-explanatory. It's just we've got the cable going around down here, and then it's just a joiner, a couple of springs just to help the carb pull it back a wee bit. Nothing too fancy on that. I haven't done any brakes yet. I've got the disc on. I'm planning to probably just put a hydro back brake in front of the shifter and just have that on the disc. Can't remember where I got the tyres from. Can't remember what they're off, but there's something it was pretty cheap, pretty easy. All I really need to do now is find a big field and actually open it up and check that the tune is good under, strenuous load and heat. It does spool up a lot quicker now since the turbo's a lot closer. But the only thing else I'm worried about is the heat on the head, so I think I'm going to get some heat wrap and wrap it around the whole thing. This is just an oil pressure, there's an oil pressure tap here off the head. It goes up the bore, down here into the head, and then there's two squirters in here, and they squirt down onto the cam levers, because in this model the cam goes around where the lobe is, and it hits a lever, and then the levers are on opposite sides and they push down onto the valves and the levers. So it's pretty important that they are getting constant oil feed, so that's why I tapped off this bearing casing that's in here for the oil feed for the turbo, which I haven't seen have any oil starvation in the whole motor. I did put a new oil pump in this though a couple of years ago before I actually turboed this, because just to be safe putting this on, I didn't want the motor to starve from oil. Other than that, the sprocket and cog are just the same, just drilled through where I needed to, centered it, put it on. That's a legit chuck. Just sort of made my own holes though, because I don't want to bug around with making new sprocket mounting and stuff, and trying to match up the spine and stuff like that. It's way easier just to use the original. I suppose other than that, this is my new Humble bow. Too fancy. My SR's screaming out for a bit of attention, but I guess it can wait. So just working on computers and stuff as well. That's just sort of like a stockpile for me to work on. Bits and bobs, all that sort of stuff. This here is a CT125 that is pretty much got the exact same setup as the quad, except I have raxed quite a few parts off this for the intake side and stuff like that, so I really need to get back and put this all back together. But this actually goes really well as well. This is only running about £5. It was a wee bit harder to tap the oil and stuff like that. I had to sort of take apart the motor and sort of find my own oil galleries, but luckily the drain was the same as the quad one. It just went straight back into where the original oil cap is to fill the engine, so that was actually a bit of a relief. It's just the oil tap, and this one does have a oil filter line on it. I can't remember why. I don't know why I didn't chuck one on this one. I just wanted to chuck this one because this one seemed to have a bit more oil pressure at that sort of RPM, and it sort of gives it a bit of a governor space, I guess, because it's a lot longer line, so it tries to hold the pressure against the motor side rather than it pressurizing to the turbo and then the pressure pushes back against it. So it has a wee bit of a leniency on the pressure going down it. Other than that, this one's actually really easy to retard the timing on because the CDI is at the top of the head, so not CDI, the pickup, sorry, for the CDI is on top of the head, so you can adjust where the pickup is left to right for timing, which this one's a little bit more difficult to do. All you really need to do is retard the timing a little bit so you don't get any detonation, and up the octane that you stick in it. But other than that, I'll post some more videos of this actually going soon. I suppose the other thing is I've tried to get as much angle, let's turn the wheel here, as much angle as I can out of the tyres, which is going to be pretty fun for when it's going sideways. So yeah, so it's gonna be fun times. So yeah, so catch you guys later.